What's up, Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys are in a crucial offseason, looking to make the necessary changes to become true Super Bowl contenders. We all know this team has talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but to take that next step, big moves need to happen.
Now imagine this, Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line. Sounds insane, right? Well, Micah himself is all for it, and he's even willing to take a pay cut to make it happen. Before we dive into this wild scenario, make sure to hit that like button to help this video reach more Cowboys fans. And if you love Cowboys content, subscribe so you don't miss any updates. All right, let's break this down. Could Dallas really pull off a trade for Myles Garrett? And if so, what would it take? Let's get into it. In a shocking turn of events, Cleveland Browns superstar Myles Garrett has officially requested a trade. After spending 8 seasons with the Browns and winning Defensive Player of the Year, Garrett now wants to join a true contender. This has sent NFL general managers into a frenzy, trying to figure out how to put together the best trade package to land one of the most dominant pass rushers in the game. And guess what? Micah Parsons wants the Cowboys to be in the mix. In a recent interview with Bryant McFadden, Parsons was asked about the possibility of Garrett coming to Dallas, and he didn't hold back. Honestly, I'd like to see him in Dallas, but I don't know if we got the money for him.
Then McFadden hit him with the big question. Would you take a pay cut to make it happen? And Parsons didn't hesitate. Oh, 100%. Would he take less too? We would definitely have to make that happen. As long as he lets me be a little higher than him, I'm younger. He want to be with us too.
This is a massive statement from Parsons. He's willing to sacrifice money to get Garrett on board. But is it actually realistic? There's no doubt about it. Myles Garrett would make the Cowboys' defense terrifying. Imagine an edge-rushing duo of Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. That's 2 of the most dominant pass rushers in the league on the same team. Last season, the Cowboys' defense was already one of the best in the league, but they struggled at times against physical offensive lines and elite quarterbacks. Adding Garrett would give Dan Quinn's defense, or whoever the next defensive coordinator is, an unstoppable weapon. Garrett is coming off a 14-sack season despite battling injuries. Pair him with Parsons, and opposing quarterbacks would have nightmares trying to prepare for the Cowboys' defense. Now let's talk about the real issue. Would the Cowboys actually make this move? Here's the problem. Jerry Jones has never been a big fan of trading for superstars. The Cowboys front office prefers to build through the draft, keeping their draft picks rather than spending big on blockbuster trades.
And let's be real. Myles Garrett won't come cheap. The Browns will want a massive return for their franchise player. It would likely take multiple first-round picks. A key player, maybe someone like Osa Odighizuwa or Sam Williams, a massive
contract restructure to fit Garrett under the cap. It's a huge investment, and history shows Dallas doesn't like making those moves. Now let's talk about Parsons' willingness to take a pay cut. This is where things get interesting. Parsons is eligible for a new contract this offseason and is expected to become the highest-paid defensive player in the NFL. Right now, the top-paid pass rusher is Nick Bosa, who signed a 5-year, $170 million deal last year. Parsons is expected to surpass that, unless he really is serious about taking less money. Would Parsons really leave millions on the table just to get Garrett? And if so, would Garrett also be willing to take less money to join the Cowboys? It's a lot of ifs, but the fact that Parsons is even talking about it means it's worth watching. If Jerry Jones wants to make one final championship push, this is the move to make. But history tells us he won't do it. Jones has always been hesitant to make big trades for star players, especially when it means giving up high draft picks. Just look at what happened with Jalen Ramsey, Cowboys passed, Rams traded for him and won a Super Bowl. Von Miller, Cowboys passed, Rams traded for him and won a Super Bowl. DeAndre Hopkins, Cowboys passed, Cardinals got him for cheap. The Cowboys have had opportunities to go all in before, and they've passed every time. Would Myles Garrett be the one player who finally makes Jerry Jones change his mind? If Dallas doesn't go after Garrett, what other options do they have? There.
Are some smart, realistic trades the Cowboys could make to improve their defense without giving up their top draft picks?
Here are a few ideas.
Trade for Jadeveon Clowney, a veteran pass rusher who would cost way less than Garrett but still add depth. Look at Kenyon Green, a young offensive lineman who could be a cheap trade target. Target Travis Etienne. If Dallas wants to improve its run game, a trade for Etienne could be a sneaky move.
These moves aren't as exciting as adding Garrett, but they're more in line with how Dallas operates. At the NFL Honors event, Jerry Jones sat down with The Athletic's Diana Rossini and gave some insight into why he hired Schottenheimer.
Yes, I looked at 25 years of being on many staffs in the NFL, Jones said. I looked at sitting around that dinner table with his daddy, Marty Schottenheimer, and I know what osmosis does, and it doesn't fall far from the tree. Jones sees Schottenheimer's deep football roots as a key factor. His father, Marty Schottenheimer, was a legendary coach known for his physical, disciplined teams. Jerry believes that kind of experience has shaped Brian into the coach he is today, but there was more to the decision. What an opportunity to get a coach coming out of the chute for his first time with all the fire that goes with that. Yet, at the same time, he has his experience, plus his greatest rooting section is our players, people like Dak Prescott. This is a crucial point. Jerry is banking on the fact that Schottenheimer, despite being a first-time head coach, has experience and strong relationships with the players, especially Dak Prescott. Let's be real, the Cowboys are under a massive microscope. This team has all the talent in the world but hasn't even made it to an NFC championship game in almost 30 years. That's unacceptable. Jerry knows that, which is why he had to make a big decision at head coach. He could have gone after a proven winner like Belichick, but instead, he took a risk. He even admitted it. This was risky because it's a first-time coach, but we got to take risks, so I'm pleased with what we can do with him. So, is this a smart risk or another miscalculation? Schottenheimer's impact on the offense, one thing working in Schottenheimer's favor, is that he's already familiar with this team.
He's been the Cowboys' offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons, and his first year was a huge success. Under his system, the Cowboys led the league in scoring, averaging 29.9 points per game. Dak Prescott had one of the best seasons of his career, and CeeDee Lamb became a true superstar. Everything looked like it was clicking until it wasn't. This past season, things went south fast. The Cowboys' offense dropped to just 20.6 points per game. The loss of Tony Pollard in free agency hurt, and then Prescott suffered a hamstring injury that ended his season early. It was a disaster, and it raised a lot of questions about whether Schottenheimer was the right guy to lead this team moving forward. Why did Jerry stick with him? It all comes down to trust and continuity. The Cowboys didn't want to go through a full rebuild. Hiring a new coach from outside the organization could have meant big changes in the coaching staff, the system, and possibly even at quarterback. By promoting Schottenheimer, Dallas is betting on stability. Dak Prescott supported the hire, which tells you the front office values keeping things familiar for their franchise quarterback. And let's be honest, if this move doesn't work out, Jerry can make another change next year. So, Cowboys Nation, what happens next? Micah Parsons wants Garrett in Dallas. He's willing to take a pay cut to make it happen. But Jerry Jones historically avoids making blockbuster trades. If Dallas wants to be serious about winning a Super Bowl, adding Garrett would be a game-changing move. But if history tells us anything, they'll likely stick to their draft and develop strategy. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think the Cowboys should trade for Myles Garrett? Would Parsons actually take a pay cut to make it happen? What other moves should Dallas make this offseason? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And before you go, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a Cowboys update. Thanks for watching, and let's see what Jerry Jones has up his sleeve this offseason.